Our guest tonight, like announced earlier, is Dr. Barrister NKAMWAH LIMEN. Thank you so much, Barrister, for accepting to talk to us on Equinox tonight. Dr. Barrister NKAMWAH LIMEN, as a legal expert, every heart has been aching following the killing of 6-year-old Mathys in Yaoundé, precisely in Goaikere, and Cameroonians want the perpetrator to be brought to book. They want him to be served a prison sentence. Now, it's exactly 13 days after the act was committed. Can you tell us, is the justice system in Cameroon considering the crime committed by the perpetrator, a certain Nwafo Dagube? Is the justice system in Cameroon considering that as a capital murder?
It's always a pleasure. Yes, I agree with you that looking at section 276 of the Cameroon Penal Code, it is a capital murder. Capital murder because not only is there the death of somebody he killed, but he prepared, there was premeditation. You see, from what we heard, a problem emanated somewhere else, maybe in a bar, as we were told, and this man had time to walk away from that bar, get a knife, and walk into the house of where the child was, and stab the child. So all those steps are clear evidence that there was actually premeditation. He prepared to commit that act, and therefore there is no doubt that it is a capital murder.
Now, Barrister, many Cameroonians who are concerned want justice to be served as soon as possible, but it seems to be delaying somehow. What is the stumbling block? What is the problem?
Yes, of course, there is a period which is a period for investigation, judicial police investigation, which is the gathering of proofs and evidence for the legal department. So I think what they are doing as of now is to gather those proofs which will be used against this the suspect in due course of the trial. So I think it is normal for investigations to be carried out, and equally it could equally be a bit worrisome to think that since the offense was committed flagrant delito, meaning that he was caught in the act or just a few minutes after commission of that act, I think there should be kind of question why is it taking long for him to be sent to awaiting trial, you see. So, but as I said, yes, the law provides that the State Council has up to about 8 days, if I'm not mistaken, to carry on investigation. So I think it's if it's above 8 days, I've not gone to the provision to clearly state whether it's 8 days renewable, but he has some time, and after that time, of course, the suspect will be sent to prison. And you should know that when he is sent to prison, the matter does not go into the courts directly. No, it has to pass in front of an examining magistrate. It has to go through an examining magistrate, since it is a felony. You see, by the provisions of the law, any matter which is felonious, which has punishment for more than 10 years imprisonment, goes through preliminary inquiry, that is in front of the examining magistrate, who will continue with investigations and until such a time that he feels that there is sufficient proof to bring this guy to be heard in the open court, as we said.
Barrister, now, can you kindly elaborate or expatiate further on the form of infringement or punishment which awaits the perpetrator if finally he is found guilty of capital murder or voluntary murder?
Yes, going by section 276 of the Criminal Code, it is death sentence. It is death sentence. But you know, that is what the code says. There are other circumstances, there are other proofs that will be tendered in court, and then the court will go through a trial. So that is why they always say that there is a presumption. You cannot say that he is already a criminal. There is a presumption. He has not been condemned. There is a procedure that has to go through court. You'll be defended by lawyers, and you might not have the death sentence. You might have something less, because lawyers could plead mitigating circumstances, and then they could consider equally that since he was in a state of stupor, he was influenced by the drink. I'm not saying that that's what is going to happen, but I just want to make our minds, broaden our minds, to see how the case is going to unfold in court. So why the law says the death sentence, we might not come out with a death sentence because there could be mitigating circumstances.
Yeah, Barrister, it's true we've been hearing about the issue of him not being in his right senses when the act occurred, but that's something else. Now, it is common to hear people say in Cameroon that justice delayed is justice denied. This is the impression many Cameroonians have at the moment with regards to the murder of 6-year-old Mathys. Can their concerns or worries be valid?
No. If, unfortunately, the public they are not lawyers, but we know the procedure and we know the steps, the various steps in the procedure. There have to be investigation. There are so many things that will get involved. As I told you about mitigating circumstances, the judicial police officer will have to go to the bar where they were drinking, gather evidence, what actually transpired, to see if there was provocation. Was that provocation enough to push this man to commit an act? So the legal department, which is the state prosecutor, has that duty to carry on those investigations to get sufficient proofs. So I don't think that justice is in any way denied or delayed. No, I don't think anybody will want to do that over the murder, assassination of a child like that.
Maybe I rephrase my question, Barrister. You will bear with me that Cameroonians expect immediate justice in such a case. That's why they make the statement, justice delayed is justice denied.
You know, what is immediate justice? I think immediate justice is already what is happening. That he was apprehended. He was not allowed to go to his house. He was apprehended. He is under investigation. And then, after investigation, they will follow due procedure. That is justice. Justice does not mean that you just take somebody and send to prison. That's not justice. Justice is, for you to get true justice, the procedure must be respected. And that's why there's a criminal procedure code. A violation of that code makes the whole thing unjust. You understand? So, there is justice because the man has been apprehended. It is under investigation. And all I can do is to call on Cameroonians to be patient. You know, when Martinez Zogo fight came, you see many people too were saying the same things. It's true that we have instances that our judiciary has failed us, but in some instances they don't fail us all the time. So we still give them the benefit of the doubt, but it is not yet in court. It is at the level of investigations. And I think that level is very, very important for the case. The judge in court is going to rely on those evidence, those proofs that you tender before them. And so if you come with a file which is empty, the judge is going to render a decision based on the facts and evidence presented in front of him or her.
Barrister, we have noticed that it is difficult for Cameroonians to be patient, like you're trying to say, when a child is murdered in cold blood, like what happened to Mathys. Do you mean to say if the facts are shallow, the punishment will also be light and vice versa?
I've told you the highest. The highest is death. But I'm telling you that you should not think that because the highest is death, death is what will be passed in court. No. There is a procedure in court where the parties will be heard, where he will defend himself, you understand? And those facts, we don't know. Those things will be tested in court. And then there is mitigating circumstances, which is provided by the law itself. So it's not because the law says death sentence that you have death sentence for him. He might come out with death sentence, of course, but don't be surprised that he has something less than a death sentence.
What Cameroonians want in this case, Barrister, is for justice to be served, and as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Barrister Dr. NKAMWAH LIMEN, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight.
And I want to extend my sincere condolences to the family of Mathys. And you know, we all cried that an innocent child should be killed in their own house, where you think they've got the greatest protection. May his soul rest in peace, and I know for sure that justice should and must be rendered in this case, because when we go barbaric to the extent of killing children, it proves that our society has degenerated to a point where there is insecurity. And don't forget that the bad governance is also an issue, because people have become so useless in Cameroon that they were spending their time drinking in a bar when they ought to be working if they were employed. Thank you so much.
Sad indeed, Barrister. Thank you so much for your time and hope to have you some other time.